Hello, hello.
Hello? Can you hear
Hello!
me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
What up?
Hi.
What up, dude?
Not much. How's it going?
It's going pretty good. Just had myself a nice meal.
Yeah, I saw. Everyone saw.
Yeah, it was good though. That was delicious. I made that right after working out and before I had a shower, so I just like did everything pretty fast.
Yeah. Hope you don't get indigestion
Uh,
during this next
oh,
little time.
I eat like that all the time. I'm not gonna lie. I always eat pretty fast.
Nice.
I just put on a spectacle with that one because we're on camera. But I normally
Yeah.
I eat pretty fast. Shit. Sorry. Okay. Um. Okay. I'm good to go. So, dude, um, go and let me know what race you are, what rank you are, and what you kind of want to work on today, and we'll get it all going.
Yeah. So I'm Protoss Plat 3. I've like worked my way up from Bronze 3. Well, in large part thanks to you and my brother and my StarCraft crew, who I think are watching right now. So shout out to them. And
Nice.
uh,
What's up, StarCraft crew?
and, and yeah, basically, like I never thought I could play StarCraft because I thought it was too much multitasking. And then you kind of like helped break it down and really helped me. But there's still just a lot of little things like I don't know. I have a replay queued up if that's the route you want to go, but just like dealing with harass, like mini map awareness, like I sometimes just like get so fixated on one thing and just forget to like kind of like trigger myself back to the rest of the scene. Like even control groupings sometimes I feel like are a little bit awkward. I don't know, just some of those like mechanical things I feel like I have an issue with, let alone like all of the wealth of like strategic knowledge that I lack as well.
Yeah, we can definitely talk about ways like fundamentals that you can start working on to make your gameplay flow better in like all
Yeah.
situations. Um, but yeah, I think a replay would probably be easiest because I think the best way to retain information so you don't because so it doesn't just go in one ear and out the other is to do it through a replay. That way your mind is like able to focus on it. Because if I actually coach you while you're playing, a lot of people tend to be like, "What? Okay, hold on. Okay, what? Sorry, what'd you say?" Like it's like because they're so focused on doing other shit at the same time.
Yeah, totally.
So yeah, I guess best easiest way we can get in contact is are you on BattleNet already right now?
I am. I'm logged into StarCraft.
Okay, so top right, left click your portrait. It'll open up your profile, and then
Huh?
on the left side of it where it says ladders, click that, and then in the same spot where it says Grandmaster, click that again, and then just scroll down to rank 113, and then you can just right click my name and send me a message, and then
Okay.
and then we'll have a party.
Uh,
There you go. Banana. All right, I'll make you leader, and then just go ahead and go into your replays now, and then whatever replay that you're wanting to take a look at, just do watch with others. And then last thing, before we hit start, right click my name in the lobby one more time, and then make me the lobby host. There you go. Perfect. Easy.
yeah, thank you.
Okay, so we got a PvP. PvP is definitely, I would say this, okay? Out of all the matchups uh,
Uh,
for Protoss, PvP is the one that would, in my opinion, change the most as you get higher league. We'll see how you're opening, and I will keep in mind that this is platinum. So if you're doing what I think is platinum worthy builds, I'll be okay with it. I'm not gonna really like bust your balls about your opener, but I will say, as soon as you get to Diamond League, okay, this is why this matchup changes a lot. If you're not doing two gateway openers into an expand in Diamond Plus, you need to be.
uh,
You really don't like. You can beat some Diamond players with one gate expand builds, but
uh,
you'll run into a brick wall eventually where people will just be like, "Oh, one gate expand, I'll kill him now. Cool, he's dead."
yeah. Yeah,
So
and is that just to get more units out, like at the beginning? Or
yeah,
like
so
why is
I'll just tell you right now. There's the one build that will kill you every single game if you go 1 gate expand, and that is a proxy robo. If somebody makes a proxy robo bay and then just makes like 3 gates with it, with like one of the gates is proxied as well, so it has fast warp-ins on the pylon, on the proxy pylon, they'll just make like 3 rounds of gateway units plus chrono boosted immortals, and you'll die every time. It's impossible to hold it.
See.
You can deal with every other build Protoss can do for the most part with 1 gate expands at higher level, but yeah, proxy robo is like auto death. You just die. So and if somebody scouts you, the thing about it as well is somebody can scout you in Protoss versus Protoss and then proxy gate you after scouting you, because you can't make the robo anyways until after the core, so it's not delayed at all. It's still on time. So it's it's like a reactionary all in to kill you if they scout 1 gate. So that's why, like, but again, this is Platinum. People don't understand that in Platinum. I'm not gonna lie. They don't really like. You might play against someone who does proxy robo 1 out of every 30 Protosses. Like, it's very rare, I would say. So for now, don't worry about it. But I'm just throwing it out there for like future reference. And in the future, if you get to like Diamond Masters, you're gonna have to change your PvP if you're not already doing double gate. All right. So, and also, always feel free as well to interrupt me at any point in time and ask me questions if you have a question on your mind, so you can get the most out of what you want to know.
Thank you.
Yeah. So your pylon placement is perfect. I like it. Okay, good shit. Nice. Yeah, we're chilling. First chrono boost always happens right after the first pylon finishes, and you make the gate. So now you should, I would say you should chrono your Nexus, start another probe, make a gas, and you are scouting a little bit. I can see, like, I feel like you're doing this for like the potential of like a cannon rush. I would say, here, we'll watch how you do it a little more before I give you some opinions here. Okay, I'm gonna throw this out there. You are doing double gate openers, and I like that. Okay, but I do not like the build order. The second gate is too fast, and this is what I think you should be doing. So the second what's it called? The pylon finishes, you make a gate right away. You then make your gas, and you keep probe production rolling, but you make a gas as soon as possible, as soon as you can afford it, while having a probe in production. And again, you were chronoing your probes too, which you are, which is good. Because what you want to do in PvP, especially if you're going double gateway openers, is you want to fill your gas up entirely, like as fast as you can, because you're easily going to get the mineral line saturated, but you really need to get the gas saturated, because if you don't get the gas saturated, it's going to fuck up your gateway rounds of production, and it's also going to delay your warp gate possibly, depending on, or you might have to like cut something somewhere. So your gas is delayed, and your second gateway is a little too early. And I would say this would ideally be how you'd want to do it. Okay, so your first probe builds a pylon. As soon as the pylon's done, you bring your probe over there and you build a gateway. When the gateway is like halfway done, which is roughly going to be around the time when you're like going to like 18 supply. Okay, so like this next probe that spawns right now, when it would be your 17th probe essentially. You could rally that forward and build the gateway then. And the reason why this is important is because you will still get 2 gateways before the core is done, guaranteed. But you don't delay the gas. So what you're doing is you're getting 2 gateways way before the core is done, and you're delaying the gas. So that's all you got to change is gas before second gate, and you'll be way better off. And then we'll keep looking at your build, but the build should go like this: gas, second gate, second gas, core.
Okay.
All right, and then you're scouting as well. And then you make your pylon last after the core. So you should have a second gas already started, and then you should be making a core as well. Right now. Like, this core is huge. And if you make a Nexus, this is definitely incorrect. Okay,
I see. Okay.
Here's the thing. The reason why I say it's incorrect is because you've prioritized double gateway, which means you should prioritize a core. It's like you've chosen a path of higher amounts of units And again, we're talking Platinum League here, so if you do actually want to still do a fast expands, you totally can. Just know that in Platinum, you don't really get punished for this. But let's just say this. You are scouting your opponent, right? And you saw he has one gateway and a core. And then this dude is, that's all he's got so far. This would be an instance where I would say you, as a reaction to this, if you go for a double gateway core opener, could now add on a proxy pylon, a third gateway on that proxy pylon, and a robo on that proxy pylon. And you could just literally all in him and kill him. He would die. Guaranteed. That's why I was saying like that one gate opener shit will die to this double gateway opener if you get higher level. But if you want to, if you also want it for now, just for a while, keep doing Nexus builds. Again, I'm okay with it because I'm going to tell you right now, again, nobody in Platinum League punishes this. Nobody does. It's so rare. You could go still, if you wanted to actually take a Nexus, you could go Gateway, Gas, Nexus, Core, Gas, Pylon. You could do that too. Do you, I mean, we'll just say this. You could do either one. Do you have a preference about which one you want to go down, and we'll kind of focus on that? Like that mindset.
I mean, I do like the macro mindset, and like the only, like, I think, is it for, if I'm playing Zerg or Terran, then you can go Nexus before Cyber.
You can go Nexus before Cyber against Protoss as well, in Platinum. You honestly, you can in Platinum.
Okay. Yeah, I think I like the Nexus first. I mean, I like both, but yeah, let's do that one.
Okay, so just to give you the final recap on the double gateway thing, you would still be expanding. It's just that the build would be Pylon, Gate, Gas, Core, and then you would be starting like 2 Stalkers at a time or something, and then you would make a Nexus later on. Like you would still get a Nexus, it would just be after you're already doing unit production. But talking about the 1 gate expand, your build should then be Pylon, Gate, Gas, Nexus, Core, Gas, Pylon. So what you do is you try your best to build you build your Pylon, your Gate, and your Gas, your first 3 buildings, and then you just keep building probes all the way to 20 supply. And at 20 supply, you should have a probe at your natural. So you should take like the 19th probe and like send it to the natural from the Nexus or something, or just take a probe off the middle line, whatever, at 19 supply. You then take that probe at 19 supply, and then you keep building probes to 20. But the probe at 19, the probe that you sent down at 19 will be at the natural when you're at 20 out of 23, and you will start the Nexus just like you did just now. You would build it just like you did just now, and instead of building this gateway like you have it, that would be a core. So you would build the Nexus, and then you'd build the core, and then you'd go back to a Gas and a Pylon. And then finally, the last thing is the second Pylon.
Yeah.
So that will always be your build order against Zerg, Protoss, and Terran. And again, if you want to, I could also give you an example build after we're done talking, and then I can. So it's something you can like, you can see as a reference always to be like, okay, wait, what was it again exactly? And you'll have the guide. Yeah, see, the way your opponent's playing right now, this is like the average Platinum player, I would say. That's just like very awkward builds where if you look at his supply, it's super high already off of 1 base. If you look at his production, he's making Zealots, which are fucking awful. He's also going into a really fast Stargate, which before I even see what he's doing here, I'm going to assume this is going to be like Void Rays. So like builds like this, they're very inefficient. And you, as long as you just make like Stalkers efficiently, you'll beat players like this all the time. Just in general. Yeah, and I would definitely give you the edge already in this game because you've expanded.
I thought.
What's up?
That's what I thought.
Yeah. So I will say your Chrono Boost on your gateways just now is not a bad choice because you haven't seen an expansion from him yet, and you don't really know if he's gonna do 1 base build, like a 1 base all into or something like that. But I would say as soon as I saw those Zealots, I would be less intimidated for now. just make sure. I would say the biggest thing is just make sure you keep making probes, and you'll be cruising here. Another really good thing to do in PvP is always build a just especially for now in Platinum. Just always do this. It's like a safety net for yourself. Always build a shield battery at your Nexus. That way you have the ability to do a battery overcharge to it, which is the new Nexus ability that got patched in recently. That shit is ridiculous at holding all-ins. It's so good.
Okay.
All right, and then now too, I would say this is around that time when you need to prioritize what tech you want to go for, and it looks like you're about to do that. And perfect. I like the Robo choice as well. I think Robo is probably the most solid choice defensively. Yeah, the only thing I think you're missing so far is your battery on your Nexus, on your natural Nexus, and otherwise you're looking great. Okay. So, right now, this is fucked. As you can see, you're like, well, all my probes are dying. Shit. You're still not behind yet. But let's talk about this for a second. So, let's talk about what could be happening with your opponent, okay? Now, if you scouted and you go, okay, I expanded and he did not. And let's just say you scouted and your Nexus was like, because again, what you should be doing here is you should be basing your opponent's build off of your build. Everything in StarCraft 2 has very similar costs, even no matter what race it is. Like for instance, a supply depot and an overlord are all the same cost as a pylon. A barracks and a gateway, same cost. Spawning pool, a little bit more expensive, but it's a little different because it doesn't actually build the units. We'll just do this off of Protoss and Terran, okay? Protoss and Terran are like identical with costs, all for like pretty much almost every building to a degree. Like it's very, very similar. So when you think about it like that, if your Nexus was like halfway done and you scouted your opponent's natural and went, oh, where's your Nexus? You don't have one. You should be already with a little bit of mindset going, okay, there's a chance of aggression now. Like you should be thinking about aggression. And if you really think about aggression, what do you think he could do? What would you kind of expect that could happen aggressively from a one-base Protoss?
A lot of gateway
Chihuahua.
units.
Thank you, Larissa.
Sure.
Yeah. So I would say you have the, like, if your opponent's going to one-base you, he definitely has the ability to just make like more gates, like do like a classic Wings Liberty like 4-gate style thing to you, where he does like just a super all in with like Stalker, Sentry, Zealot, whatever, anything like that. He could like do a Robo all in to you. He could do a fast Dark Templar build. He could do a Stargate build, like what he's doing now with like an Oracle opener into whatever. It could become Voids. It could just be Moracles. It could just be designed to slow you down in some way. So if you think about it, it's just, if you just think about like what could happen to you in a way that could fuck you over, I would say the easiest way, because like think about it, if you were like the one base player, okay? Think about if you were the one base player. And now imagine if you had to attack a Protoss that had these things. He has an observer. He has access to immortals. He has stalkers. He has a shield battery at his natural. And maybe he leaves like 1 or 2 stalkers in his main for like the mineral line in case it's a Stargate. Like how would you go about breaking that? Because that's like a very well-rounded defense, I would say, against someone who's one basing. Like you don't have to actually tell me how to break it. I'm just saying in general, like that would, if you did that yourself, it would be really fucking hard for him to do any damage to you.
Yeah.
Because your battery could easily handle the Zealots. If he does go for like a massive gateway all in, you could just make Immortals. And then if he goes for DT Rush, you have Observer. And if he goes for Stargate multi-prong, you have like Stalkers in your mineral line at your main that could just aggro the Oracle and just kill the Oracle. So we'll see how many probes die. Okay, that was a little painful, for sure.
This is like classic me.
Okay, so I would say just do this, okay? There's 2 ways you can go about doing this, especially for now. Number 1, if you see your opponent is... So, I mean, we'll go back to that point when you scouted for a sec, because it was great. The fact that you scouted was amazing. Look at your Nexus right now. It's like almost done. And look at his natural. It doesn't have shit there. You're like, okay, 1 base player, probably. Like, he could be mining the minerals out in his main at the south side. That is possible. But it very much looks like a 1 base player so far. So a way you could react to this would be, you could even take it 1 step further than what I just said. And what if you built a pylon next to your main Nexus mineral line? So instead of putting, and here's the thing too, I would recommend not putting 2 pylons the way you did on the gateway. I imagine you probably have had a game before where your pylon has died and you're like, ah, fuck, I'm underpowered. Well, that sucks. Yep. But imagine if you put a pylon in your main mineral line, like behind it, and another pylon behind your natural mineral line. And then what if you just put 2 batteries down as well? Like 1 battery in the natural, 1 battery in the main. That also would have completely countered the Oracle. Because you...
What would a battery do against an Oracle?
It would heal the probes faster than they die.
Okay.
Like, you would actually... So an Oracle does 22 damage, okay? And a battery will full heal the shields of a probe every time the Oracle hits something. So between every Oracle's auto attack, it'll get full shielded again from the battery. It will not have like a reduction of something kind. But the fact that an Oracle does 20 damage and an Oracle, probe only has 20 hit points, but an Oracle does 22 damage. Like, we're talking 20 shields, 20 hit points for the probe. The probe will always take 2 actual damage. So the first time the Oracle hits, it'll be at 18. Second time, it'll be at 16. Next time, it'll be at 14, and so on and so on and so on. So an Oracle will eventually kill a probe, but an Oracle will probably run itself out of energy, and it'll also run the battery out of energy. And the time it probably kills 2 probes.
Gotcha. Yeah.
It would be much better than if you lost like 13 probes right there. And then it also, like, your stalkers kind of stood there for a little bit as well, which kind of sucked for you, while it killed like another like 4 probes. But yeah, so I mean, that's a great way to like bounce back and recover if you take damage like that. Another thing that's huge, okay? You have to realize this always as Protoss. If someone attacks you and they don't kill your army, okay? They kill your probes. You should then allocate all chrono boost to probe remaking as fast as you can and as often as you can.
So, like, how much are you checking your mini map? You know, I think, like, I just didn't even realize that there was this blue dot in the bottom left of my screen for a while.
You should, okay, so it's not about checking your mini map all the time. It's also about what are you getting attacked by? And does it make any sense? You have to think about that. Think about it like to the next step, rather, because a lot of people think about it like, I have to look at the mini map, and if I don't see it on the mini map, I have no idea what's happening. And if I don't physically see whatever I'm looking for on the screen, I don't know what's happening. But if you look at the attack that hits you, like, look at this, okay? We're going to go back to the attack now. Because I just want to talk about your scout, which was great. Your scout was fucking great, by the way. It gave you so much information that your opponent's not expanding. So the fact that you're making stalkers and you're, you know, playing defensive is perfect. But check this out. Like, right when he shows up, right now, what are you getting attacked by? Instead, because a lot of people they panic and they go, I'm getting attacked, and that's it. That's all they think about. But think about, what are you getting attacked by?
It's just 4 zealots, not much.
Okay, and do you know how much 4 zealots cost?
400 minerals, no gas.
Exactly. So, what do you think is a possibility here if your opponent doesn't have an expansion, and now he's attacking you with 4 zealots?
I guess, so the like, trying to think, like, oh, maybe he's trying to attack me from a second front.
Yeah, like, yeah, for sure. I would say a great way to look at this would go, okay, he's not expanding, and he's also attacking me really randomly with 4 zealots right now. I think he's teching to some, like, he has to be teching to something. And if you think about that logically, what could he tech into that would make sense for him to send 4 zealots into your base right now? I would say there is multiple types of tech that he could do, but if the fact that you don't see like an immortal walking in with these things, it kind of rules out the robo. The fact that it's way too, you have to realize this too, it is way too early in the game to have Dark Templars already. Even if you one base it, the fastest you can get DTs is about 5 minutes, like 440, 5 minutes, because the buildings themselves, like the tech path of making the Twilight Council and then the Dark Shrine, that shit takes a while. So this is too early for DTs. And then if even if it was, yeah, I mean, if it was eventually going to be TTs, you would just make an observer. So I would say if there's no immortal here, and it's just a couple of zealots, I would be like, okay, there's a good chance it's a Stargate. And if you thought about it like that, because you have to realize he's like, why, like you have to think about it like, why is he not expanding? It's because he's prioritizing gas. And then why is he attacking me with units that don't cost gas? Because he's probably making units that do cost gas in some other way, because he's not making units that take away from the gas, like he's not making stalkers or depths or sentries. It's just zealots. So he's like saving all the gas that he's prioritizing. So yeah, I mean, you should think about it like that. And if you think about it like that, it would be a way where you could now kind of deduce, even before you see a Stargate, that it's a Stargate. Because it makes the most sense. Because, again, it would be either, in my opinion, it's either a Stargate or a Robo, but there's no Immortals. So it has to be a Stargate. And if you would know it's a Stargate, again, you don't have to look at the minimap, per se, to be like, I have to see the Oracle as it enters my base to know it's there. You could just now kind of think about it logically and go, Stargate's a possibility. And he just, not only did he just attack me with Zealots, he is now also retreating with Zealots. And instead of thinking about it in a way where you go, get on, noob, yeah, run away, I'm fucking owning you. Like, just like you think like you won the fight. Just be like, okay, well, he just showed up with a few Zealots, and now all these things line up to be really weird. Okay, now let's look around the other base just to make sure we're okay. Like, because you should be thinking like I hope it makes sense. That is how you have to kind of think about it. You have to think about it like what logically makes sense with the choices that he's made.
Okay.
And if he has a gas priority, and there's no Immortals here, then the only thing that could screw you now is a Stargate unit. And again, if you had shield batteries, if your reaction to the fact that he had no natural was shield batteries, you would even if you don't even react to this Oracle, it would have killed very few probes by the time you could react to it. Like, in the time your stalkers did react to it, you would have lost 2 probes, 1 probe to 2 probes. So far, do you have any questions about anything that we talked about?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. And then also just as a recommendation, I don't expect you to have like 200 APM or anything right now. What I would say though is if you are starting to feel overwhelmed, where you're like, fuck, okay, like I'm getting attacked in 2 spots at once, this is really hard to deal with.
Yeah.
What you could do, honestly, again, if you had a shield battery in your natural, it would have bought you a lot more time. I think the shield battery thing is going to help you a lot. It will help you a fuckload. But if, like, I'll ask you a question. When you were playing this game, did you realize you were getting attacked by Zealots and an Oracle at this point now at the same time?
Hell no. And I mean, the reason why so many probes died is it took me like, I don't know, 15 seconds or something before I realized there was an Oracle in my base, probably. Okay.
Well, do you realize the Zealots have come back at this point?
Oh. No. Probably not.
Okay, sure. All right, so one thing you could do is, if like, okay, I'm actually going to say it like this. I'm going to actually tell you to do something really fast. I think it'll help you out a lot in the long run. Really quickly, hit F10 and go to your options. And then,
okay.
What's up?
Okay, I'm in options.
Okay, and then go to mouse and keyboard. And then where it says mouse scroll speed, what number? Is it 20%?
43.
Okay, 43 is a lot better. Okay, that's fine. So, what's your drag scroll speed?
20.
Okay, put that to 50. Just increase that shit. Because I want you to be able to move your screen around a little bit faster. Because I feel like your problem is you're tunnel visioning one thing at a time, and if you have faster screen speed, and then that's all you got to do. You can just hit accept and you're fine. And
is this generally how you scroll? Is using the drag scroll?
Yeah. So like, if you're like, there's 2 ways to do it. One is you drag your mouse around, and another one is you use just straight up camera hotkeys. Now I'm not going to say you have to have camera hotkeys either right now. It's definitely not required, but you should be. Like, if you scroll your mouse around the screen right up and down right now, does it feel like it's going substantially fast for you, so you can actually like see, your base? Like, if you want to go from your natural to your main and drag it down to the bottom, does it go pretty fast for you?
And now I'm doing like the drag speed where you like hold the middle button down. And I mean, if you use that seems like a pretty cool option too.
Uh,
Or
it's like the inverted drag. I honestly, I don't know if what I just told you to change was for this specifically, but I actually almost never use the middle mouse button pushing it in.
yeah, I don't use that much
Okay,
either.
okay. I just like we're literally talking about just having your mouse go to the edge of the screen and like pull the screen up or down. Um, and as long as your screen goes relatively fast and it's not just like crawling to the other base, that's all I really want it to happen. Because like again, the fact that you're getting attacked by this, I would say the easiest way to deal with this. We're assuming now you don't have batteries. Okay, this would have been the way to have dealt with this. As soon as you would, because you have to realize you like we're gonna have to work on a way for you to realize that you're getting attacked by two things at once here.
Okay.
The perfect way to deal with this would be, I would say, is to have like just like two stalkers go deal with the oracle, just like two. You don't have to send all of them, just two, and then have the other stalkers come back and deal with the zealots. Now I'm gonna go back one more time, and I'm gonna look at your build one more time, and I'm gonna see your warp gate. I want to see how delayed warp gate is. Because again, your core was also super late. You have to realize that. So another way you could have dealt with this, or in a really easy way, would have actually have been if you would have realized right now. Oh, I'll make batteries because, or not right now, a little bit later when you come back and scout. When you realize he does not have a natural at all, you make a pylon in your next to your nexus, and you make a battery next to that pylon. So now you have a fast warp in pylon, and you have a battery that can cover your probes. Okay. That would be huge if you did that for both of your bases. That's going to be the thing you should definitely, if you take anything away from this coaching lesson, start doing that in PvP. The next thing is your build is going to be one gate expands, so your nexus is going to go down at 20, and then your core is going to go down at 20 as well right after the nexus. Now let's look and see how delayed your core is, because you went double gateway and then nexus, and then core, which is definitely throwing things off a bit. So your core, I would say your core went down. We'll mark it, okay? I'll make you the build after this. We'll mark this though. Your core went down at 150. I'm actually gonna write that down outside the game. 150 core. 150 was your core. So we'll remember that, and we'll talk about the build when I do it as an example for you when the core goes down for me. I guarantee your core is like 10 seconds late. And now let's wait and watch as well on your core. How late does warp gate start? So the core finishes at 227. So 227. Core finishes, and then let's see how many seconds go by before you start warp gate. Okay, so you start warp gate at 2:36. So 9 seconds after. 9 seconds later, warp gate starts. Okay, so we're just going to make a number here for how late your warp gate tech is. So far it's already 9 seconds late. So we'll come back to that later when I make you an example. And like because again, what I'm trying to say is what you could have done against the oracle again is you could have had 4 zealots and a sentry in your natural. You could have then also just warped in 2 stalkers on the warp in pylon at your main with the battery there. You would have lost no probes, and the time it would have taken 2 stalkers to warp in, because the shield battery would have healed the probes, and then the 2 stalkers would finish and then push the oracle away, and you would have lost no probes at all. And that would have been a super easy way to deal with the oracle. And then you don't have to run your army back and forth at all. And then now that you know he has an oracle, at that point you could just leave those stalkers in your mineral line until like you're ready to move out later. Because again, like right now, if this kind of shit ever happens to you, this cannot happen. I'm not gonna lie. Like this is like irreparable damage. Like this is the fact that you expanded and you just lost 17 probes is it's fucked. Because also not only did you lose 17 probes, you also just lost a lot of mining time. Because nothing is mining right now. Like your probes all ran up and sat there. Your probes to the natural ran back to the main, and your mining has literally gone down back to almost 0. So this is like, you could still recover from this, which is by chrono boosting your probes as fast as you can repeatedly. But this sucks for you. Like this is avoidable damage. I do like that you're chrono boosting your one Nexus. I want you to... There you go. You're chrono boosting the other one now. And watch your probe count. You'll still recover. And now, suddenly, you're tied with probes again with your opponent. And he just killed 18 workers in total. Now he's doing it again. See, this is that thing where now if you made a battery again, if you already had a battery again in the middle lane, you would have lost no probes there again.
Uh-huh.
And no mining time lost of running around. So yeah, batteries are going to become your best friend.
I think that's why I went Forge, is to build a cannon in each mineral line, but you're saying that a battery just does just as well.
Yeah, because you could just have a stalker sitting there next to it, and then you're fine. A cannon is a little excessive. It's a little overdone. It's because exactly, you have to build the forge for it. It's expensive as fuck. And if you got a robo, you don't really need a cannon because you also have detection from a robo. Like, you're double dipping into ways that you don't need to be.
Yeah.
Oh, I gotta sneeze. Excuse me. The battery and the cannon, yeah, it's just kind of overkill for all of it together. It's really expensive, and it's not necessary. Again, the battery just by itself would easily do the job for you, and the core unlocks the battery. Because the thing is too, is you're making these static D structures now. You're making 3 batteries and a cannon between your 2 bases, and you're making these things after you've lost 25 probes, not before either. So even if you would have made this before you lost 25 probes, it would have been better. It still would have been the ideal situation because I think a cannon is excessive right now. You don't need it really, but it still would have been better if you did it before you lost 25 probes. But you lost the probes and then you make the static D, which is like a double negative for you because it's really fucking your economy over both ways. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so, I mean, instead of building those defensive structures, how should I have been spending my money after he killed all those probes?
So the ideal situation is you react before that happens.
Right.
Again, like you react to the fact, because again, you had the information, which was he did not expand. That all comes from that. If your opponent doesn't expand, you should expect to be defensive. And if your opponent doesn't have an expansion even started by the time yours is like done, you can easily afford 2 batteries and not be behind. He's the one who's actually super far behind because now what's happening is if he doesn't expand, it puts him in a position where he has to do damage. Otherwise, he's fucked. Like, he has to do damage. He can't just sit there on 1 base versus 2 bases and be like, I'm not going to attack you, and I'll be fine. No, every second that goes by, he gets further behind now because he's mining half as much as you are. So he has to do something. And if you had if you had a battery against the Oracle, you would have taken no damage. And then you just fucked over his entire pressure if you had a battery. So it's all about, again, I'm really glad you scouted that. Your scouting, again, gave you the answers you needed. You just have to read it. It lets you know, okay, yeah, he's going for aggression. Like, you don't even have to know how many gateways he has, what tech he has. You have to know nothing of that sort. You don't have to know anything other than the fact that he doesn't expand. And now you know he's going to be aggressive. Because aggressive players always prioritize production before expansions. That's just how the game works. If you expand and you're going to be aggressive, your aggression is going to be very weak. It's going to be more considered like harass, or it's going to be very late. Because you are prioritizing economy. All right. And then you have a 3rd base going down. You're making Immortal, Stalker. You are macroing better than this guy repeatedly. Double Forge in PvP is not necessary, I would say. It's not really something you ever really want to do. It's more appropriate against Terran and Protoss. Or sorry, it's more appropriate against Terran and Zerg. Against Protoss, it's kind of, yeah, it's expensive. You don't want to do it. Yeah. Just definitely go for weapon upgrades on your 1 Forge, and then eventually, also go weapon upgrades all the way to level 3. Don't start armor after level 1 weapons. Just go level 3 weapon, and then go armor, and then go shield.
Okay.
The reason why is because armor upgrades and shield upgrades give 1 per upgrade every time, no matter what. It just literally counts for a value of 1, 1, 1. That's it. Weapon upgrades count for a value of a lot more than that. Like an immortal gets +2, +2, +2, or versus armored +5, +5, +5. So it's literally the equivalent of having 15 armor upgrades and 3 weapon upgrades on an immortal that shoots stalkers or other immortals or stuff like that, because it's worth 15 value. An Archon, same thing, gets a fuckload of damage versus light units, or biological rather, which is like zealots. A zealot gets 2 damage per upgrade, because, well, really armor gets 2 armor upgrade per zealot attack because it's 2 attacks. But a stalker gets 2 damage per armored upgrade and 1 damage per normal attack. So like, it's huge getting weapon upgrades prioritized, because again, it's just multiple values.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you're making way too much static D. You're like overcommitting to the oracles now. I think it's actually like, how many oracles has he made actually? Like 1 or 2?
Just 1. Maybe 2. I don't know.
I think it might be 2, because this one only has 15 kills and you've lost 33 probes. But yeah, like it's definitely an overcommitment to, you know, having static D versus oracle now, because again, what this is doing to you is it's slowing down your production now, because static D isn't free. It's fucking expensive actually. So you're falling further behind now every time when you make more and more of it. All right, and then this is also what I would say is a moment where your upgrade is actually bad, which is blink, and his upgrade is charge. He's got charge, you have blink, and I would say blink is a worse upgrade here in a platinum level game, because you're not going to micro your blink stalkers. I don't expect you to, and it's probably not going to happen. I expect you to have 0 micro, really, realistically. Yo, Florencio, thank you for the raid, man. Thank you. We're doing a coaching lesson, but what's up, guys? So like the only way you're going to micro this is if you literally just rotate stalkers back, which is hard. And he's just literally A-moving you with charge lots. And again, the reason why this is really fucking you over is because you have lost 33 probes. You have then made probes to catch back up, and you've overmade probes over him. So you have, like throughout the whole game, your opponent has made 44. You have made 88. You have literally doubled his probe count over the whole game if you include how many probes died. That's a big investment, right? That's huge. That's a lot of money invested into probes. Now, on top of that, you've also made a bunch of static D. You've made... how many batteries did you make? You've made 4 batteries, and you've made 5 cannons. So that's also super expensive in terms of how much that costs. Now, your opponent, however, has also made a lot of static D, which is not good. So you made 5 cannons and 4 batteries. Your opponent has made, we're counting it all, he's made 4 batteries and 9 cannons. So he's made a shitload of static D, like even more than you did. But so the point is, you know, versus someone who plays like that, if you would have just done, you know, taken a couple measures to not lose your probes, like again, build 1 battery per base, that's not super expensive. That's not nearly the same thing as making 9 cannons and 4 batteries. It's way cheaper than that. 9 cannons is, what is 9 cannons? Each one's 150. What's 9 times 150? That's like 1,300 or something. Something around there. I don't know. Someone could do the math. Or it's like 1,350 or some shit. But yeah, it's like that's a shitload of money. That is so much minerals. And if you think about how much minerals that is, if you were to make like zealots, you know, it's like 13 zealots right there. And if this guy has 13 less zealots than you, just because he's made 9 cannons and you don't have any cannons, and he takes this fight and you have 26 more supply in zealots than he does, you would crush. Like that's such like an extra bonus, and that's not even including like everything that's added up to this point in this game. It's just about the useless static D that he made that you didn't. which you now have the money to spend in other things that are better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, again, static D is not bad when you can afford it. And I'm going to tell you right now, the only time you should actually be trying to make it and to afford it, there's 2 times you should ever do it. Number 1 is when you max out, or when you're very close to maxing out and you're already done making workers. Like, you're at that point where you're just like, I don't need to have the cost of making pylons anymore. I don't need the cost of making probes anymore. I have extra money freed up to make, like, production now. You could then add in a couple of cannons, like 1 or 2 cannons at a base and add a battery to it. That way, because you're also about to move out, that way if you get counterattacked, it'll help deal with counterattacks. So, like, but you can afford to spend a little bit of money then easy because you've already maxed out. It's not delaying your max out. Does that make sense? So that's one time it would make sense. Another time it would make sense is if your opponent did something like where, let's just say, he did not go Oracles this game and he instead went 1 base Dark Templar. Then it would make sense again to make early static D.
I see.
If it's not that though, it's not worth it.
Okay.
But shield batteries are nice, but cannons are excessive. And again, shield batteries you don't need to have a bunch either. You just need to have like 1 per base, especially now with the buffed battery overcharge. I think it's ridiculous. Yeah, and this is just a case of honestly, dude, I'm just gonna throw it out there and say, if you, again, going back to what we talked about already, simple ways to talk about how you can fix this game. You scouted no natural. You just make a battery in your mineral line. 1 battery per mineral line because you are expecting aggression.
Yeah. Do you mean both in the natural and in the main?
Yes. Because that would mean that if he attacks you with a robo, you could overpower the battery in your natural, and you're going to be okay, ideally, because you have a battery to assist your army in the natural if it's a robo-based all-in. Like if it's a 1-base robo timing. But if it's a Stargate timing, which is, again, the other one that can hit you early, you have a battery in your main base in case he goes for probes.
Yeah.
Because you don't know, again, you don't know if it's Robo or Stargate. We talked about that. We talked about it earlier, but you did have the indicator that it's probably not Robo because when he showed up at your base, he had just 4 zealots and nothing else. And you're like, okay, what the fuck is that? Okay, nice army, dude. All right. And then, yeah, it made sense that it would be not a Robo. It made sense it would be a Stargate. Because if he's not supporting the zealots, what doesn't have to support zealots? What can, like, circumvent your base without going up the front door? It's something that can fly over your wall, which is the Stargate. And it also, again, that timing would have... You have to think about it like this, too. And, again, this is all... It's hard for Platinum to understand this, but this is how you got to kind of start thinking about the game. Think about it like this. He attacked you, and you're basing this off of your own build, okay? We're going to go back to that moment. This last thing, we'll talk about this, and then I'll make you the build myself. So let's go back to the exact moment when he attacks you with 4 zealots. Okay, so right now, there are 2 ways he could fly over your wall. One is with a prism, and one is with a Stargate. Stargate seems more likely because all you got to do with the Stargate is you build the Stargate, and then you build a unit out of the Stargate. And if we look at a probe and we look at the build time of a Stargate and a Robo, it is Stargate is 43 seconds, Robo is 46 seconds. So they're about the same. Now, again, you only have to make 1 unit to get over the wall with a Stargate, which is the Oracle gets in and does damage. Now, if he goes for a Robo and goes for a Warp Prism, which can also fly over your wall, it feels weird if he attacks the front of your base like this and he goes for a Warp Prism because, you know, I mean, he could do that. He might try to multi-prong you with random slow zealots and then a Warp Prism in your main with more stuff, like warping in. Because he definitely could have Warp Gate right now. You could. As you can see, no, he doesn't have it. Just kidding. But you could have it right now. But the point I'm trying to make here is if he 1-bases you with a Warp Gate of all in of zealots, it feels weird if he were to split his army up like this and just try to like fly a prism in your base and start warping units in your main too, as he is already losing zealots into your natural. Like it's like he's throwing away part of his army to then just have his other part of his army try to do damage. Which, if he's 1-basing you, it's not about harassing you like this. It's about overpowering you all at once. So it would make no sense. I feel like I might be losing you on that concept a little bit right now, but there like
yeah.
yeah. All I'm trying to say is this early in the game, there's no way he could have like 30 zealots already or like 25 zealots. It's not like you could just be like massively overpowered by zealots. So if he only really does have like 6 zealots and you have 4 stalkers because he's prioritizing tech with 1 base production and you're prioritizing a natural, that would, be a thing you could think about. Also, going back to the earlier part of the game, when you scouted him, you only saw 1 gate core. And did you see the Stargate actually as well? No, you didn't.
I don't think I scouted the Stargate.
Yeah, you didn't see it, but you did see he only had 1 gate and then he made a core. So that's another thing that indicates that's another thing right there. That if you think about it, you could go, oh, 1 gate core, he's probably prioritizing tech. If he's not going to expand, like if he's not expanding and then he goes 1 gate core. That's another reason to be like, okay, well, he's not prioritizing gateway units. He's prioritizing tech units. And then the final thing I'm going to say here is, again, it could be a warp prism. If you really think about it, it could be. It's not. We can't rule that out and be like, no, it can't be a warp prism. But think about your robo, okay? Your robo is still not even done yet. And obviously yours is a little bit more delayed because you made it natural, but it's not really that delayed. You still made it relatively early. But the robo is 46-second build time, right? And then now a Prism is a 36-second build time, and an Immortal is a 39-second build time. So if this guy was then going to instead prioritize, like, Warp Prism with Immortals inside of it and, like, fly into your main base, this is, again, way too early for that to happen. Because your Robo just finished, so how the fuck could he have over 90 seconds of time to build those 3 things, and then also have another, like, 30 seconds of time to fly across the map? You know what I mean? Like, where's the time discrepancy there? Like, it's impossible. It would need to be like 6 minutes into the game already for that to be a thing that could happen.
Gotcha. So, can I ask you or go ahead?
Oh, no, you go. What are you going to say?
It's like super mechanical question. So like I have 4 stalkers. I want to leave 2, split 2 off to just stay at my main, the 2 down at the natural. Like, what is the easiest way that you like reorganize your control group? Because sometimes like I'll split the 2 off, but then I'll not readjust the control group, so then it'll just like move all the stalkers back together again. And yeah, does that make sense?
Yeah. There's 2 ways you can do it. One would be just stop using a control group for this point in time. Well, you could green box it. So you could green box 2 stalkers, and you could just move your mineral line, and then you could green box the other 2 stalkers as your natural, and you could kite in a circle against the zealots. Meanwhile, every time you're still looking at your natural, but you're like 5 DD for probes, and then you go like you should also hotkey your gateways. I would or use a warp gate hotkey, I guess, but I would still highly recommend warp gating or control grouping your gateways. So you could be like, let's say it's on 4, and you're like 4 SS, 5 DD, green box my 2 stalkers in the natural, and keep kiting the zealots. That'd be a great way to do it, because you don't have to micro both sides. Just think about it like this: if you have a fight you're going to lose if you don't micro, well, then you have to micro it. But if you have a fight you're going to win if you don't micro, you do not need to micro that.
Yeah.
So like if you sent 2 stalkers to the Oracle, 2 stalkers will kick the shit out of an Oracle, no problem. But if you have 2 stalkers versus 3 zealots, 3 zealots will kill 2 stalkers if you don't kite. So I mean, that's that. You don't have to micro both sides there. You just go 2 stalkers, go to the main, attack that shit, forget about it, and then 2 stalkers fight the zealots in my natural and worry about that. And that's about it. So green box would be one way. Another way is you could do it is you could go green box 2 of them and go alt 2 or alt 1. It's actually on. Your stalkers are actually on 2 right now. You could just have 2 selected and go alt 1. And if you do alt 1, it deletes them from the group they're currently in and puts them in the number you just assigned them to. So alt 1 says you're going to 1 and you're being deleted from 2. It's called a steal command.
Okay.
But again, I don't want you to worry too much about having to micro here. If you just had a battery in both your bases and you had warp gate properly timed, again, all you had to do here was scout, build batteries in both your mineral lines, 1 battery in each of your mineral lines, and then just have stalkers sitting next to your main nexus when the zealots come in, and warp in 2 new stalkers in your main base when his oracle comes in. You would have lost 0 stalkers and 0 probes. And that should have been a response you should have done because he did not expand.
Awesome.
All right, and then go ahead and leave this, and then again, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. But I will literally make you a build really fast, and then we'll be good. And then I'll take you to like max supply as well with this. So it's a build that,
sweet.
Yeah, it's just a build that'll take you like literally, like you can work on it stage by stage if you want to, and eventually get to max out supply with it. All right.
Should I just go to your stream, or should I go?
No, I'm gonna revenge you the game. I just left the party to really quickly make a game for you.
Okay.
All right, Protoss versus Protoss, and yeah, once again, feel free ask questions if you have any during the game. I don't mind. And yeah, we'll once we're done with this, I will compare the timers of my warp gate to your warp gate, and we'll talk about we'll just see the difference there of seconds that were missed, because things like that are fucking huge. A lot of people don't realize it, but they're so big.
Yeah.
All right, and then I will yeah, well, I'm just gonna max out on Stalker, Archon, Immortal, because again, like, he had charge, you didn't have that, so you got kind of fucked, but you got Blink instead. Like, these upgrades, I don't know, you should still be focusing 100% on A move, and you don't have to necessarily go Zealots for this. It's just really about, if you just had enough shit there, you would have crushed him, even if he has charge and you don't.
I mean, the blink was because I get so reactive that I'm like, I need blink to counteract the Oracle harass. It's like super duper overkill on the reaction.
Yeah. I'll literally, to this game, I'll do what I told you to do, where you had 4 Stalkers in the natural and 2 in the main. I'll have batteries in both my bases. I'll literally do exactly that as well. All right. So we can go ahead and go scout. And we're doing the 1 gate expand shit that you were talking about you wanted to do still, which is, again, I think it's, for Platinum, it's totally fine. And now we're going to send a probe to our natural because we're at that 20 supply mark, which means we can afford the Nexus. And we're going to immediately make the core after the Nexus. Immediately. So Nexus, and then come right back up to the ramp and make the core. And then now we're going to make our second gas. And then our second pylon. And then when the pylon's done, that we make here in a second, we'll then chrono boost our Nexus again. And now we're going to make a pylon here next to the Nexus, so I can use this for battery. And also weapons. And then as soon as that core is done, we're also going to make a Stalker and a warp gate. Like right away. Stalker warp gate, chrono boost Nexus, and now rally Nexus to natural. And send the probe back. And we could be like, oh, look at our natural. This is exactly what you did, right? You're like, oh, my natural's almost done. Scout his. And be like, oh, shit, still no natural for him. Now let's make a pylon at the natural. Same way we did the main. And make a battery. As soon as that pylon's done, we'll make a battery in both middle lines. And then we'll also make our second gate in a... We'll make our second gate in a robo first. And then we'll make the double battery. So we'll chrono boost our Nexus to give ourselves more money. And now we'll go ahead and make a robo. We'll make a gateway. And then we'll make the double batteries. Let's make another gateway. And now, while still making probes and stalkers, we will now make battery. Just like right in the center of the middle lane, just like that.
Okay.
And then keep chrono boosting our probes out. We can make an observer first, or we'll make an immortal first, fuck it. And now warp gate's finishing for both gateways. And now, like right now, you got attacked, I think, around 4 minutes, honestly. And if you got attacked around right now, and an Oracle shows up in your middle line, and 3 Zealots show up in your natural, you just go like this in the main. 2 Stalker warp in. I'm actually spy blocked. I warped in 1. It would still be okay, because the battery would own. And then I would just back up the Stalkers like this to the natural, into the battery, in the range of the battery. And now we could go into, literally like maybe like 1 more gateway in the main base, and take a 3rd base elsewhere. Just like, you know, up here, because we're keeping the units rolling. But again, that battery, or go ahead. What are you gonna say?
You pumped out an immortal right away from the robo.
Yeah.
And I guess should you just do that? Like, I haven't scouted really, and I don't know like whether I should go immortal or go colossi or whatever. Like,
you should definitely pump an immortal out first. The reason why is because if you actually did encounter a immortal build of your opponent, like a robo build of your opponent, or a very heavy gateway build of your opponent, and you don't make immortals, you'll probably die.
Okay.
And now we can still make a forge now once we're getting a 3rd base saturated. We're not going to make cannons with it. We're just going to make upgrades with it. And we're going to keep pumping out of our like 3 gates setup we have going on here. And now we're already saturating the 3rd base, and we're just cranking out units here. And we're going to get ready also here pretty soon to make an Archon building. Like start teching towards that here pretty soon. But every base has a battery. Every base is guarded with a battery. He's here. We can just A-move his army, whatever. Who cares? Start getting weapon upgrades on my forge. Keep chrono boosting probes. And then make an immortal. And then now, while we're, you know, once we get to that point where we can spend everything and nothing is ever like waiting in production, we could then go into the next tech structure. But for now, we can't even spend our money properly. Like we're barely squeezing out all the economy we have. So it's not time to tech again to something else, because it's just going to be more costs. Like we can barely afford this. But every time, while we're barely squeezing out the money we have to keep producing off what we have already, it's going to get easier and easier and easier and easier to maintain it, because what's happening every time is our production's not increasing, but our economy is increasing because we're increasing that probe count.
At what point you scout and then you realize like, oh, my opponent's not gonna go max out, like they're gonna
attack you
and turn straight into making units at any point?
In Platinum League, no, don't worry about it. No one plays efficiently enough in Platinum League for this to be a problem. Like if you just play what I'm doing right now, efficiency, you will win all the time. Like you will have so much, you will always have enough to match or be greater than your opponent. Because people in Platinum, I'm not gonna lie, dude, they don't understand efficiency. Nobody plays efficient in lower leagues. It just doesn't happen. And now we can start. Now we have enough money. We can actually spend all of it, and we're starting to like ramp up our money faster and faster and faster. Now we can start teching into our cons, because our gas is also starting to stockpile a bit more too, so we can really get that going. So start teching into a council, and this is also going to match out well with our upgrades of our weapon. Like as soon as that council's done, we can start level 2 weapons, and our probe count's basically done now. And again, we're not throwing down more gates yet, because our money is not ramping still, because now we're teching. So we're still able to spend our money. Like I'm still keeping it down, but as soon as it starts going up and I can't spend it anymore, then obviously we're going to, because now it will start going up even faster now, because what's happening now is my pylon production's about done. We're almost max supply. My probe production is done. So those are 2 costs now that are going to be deleted from what I have to spend money on. So now my money's going to start ramping way faster, because I'm at max generation and I have less cost to accrue here. And then, yeah, we're going to then go into, you know, massive switches of like charge lots and archons if we need to. So this is when you can start making zealots. At this point, if you know, you're starting to go crazy on Archons. It makes more sense then. And now we can we produced everything we could produce. Let's make more gates because we can't afford to. We have literally no production now. So let's just add on like another like 5 gates, so we can go to like 8 gates now, and you know keep production going. And let's send a probe over to the new base we just built again. Build a battery at it, and. And we're about to max, right about 10 minutes. It's gonna roughly go about that point. And again, we're not making probes anymore, so that's not a thing. And here comes the final. You know, our money is still getting crazy, so we're gonna make like another. Let's make it literally like another like 8 gates. We can keep chrono boosting upgrades and stuff like that. Now we have a bunch of Archons. And, yeah. Bunch of gates.
Yep.
We can make even a few more gates. Literally go to like 20 gates or something. So like, 'cause you totally should do this when, you're trying to max select for the first time and stuff like that. And you're, you know, because your money is going to stockpile like crazy. If you can maintain 80 probes, it's going to be ridiculous how much money you have. And then while we get ready to move out now, this is that moment when I would say, okay, now is when we should do something like look at all my bases. Main base, add a cannon in. Natural, add a cannon in. Third base, add a cannon in. So on and so on and so on. Every base gets a cannon now. That way, if I get attacked by something random, we'll have like some type of defense there to deal with it. And now we can just A-move our opponent. And then we can like even set up more bases. Because now if you think about it too, our natural is going to start mining out in just a second. The natural mineral lines are like getting really low. They're like 20, 30, 10. So we're going to have to start sending probes around again even further to new bases. So having another base ready to go is going to be nice. And again, we don't have to micro shit here in our army. We don't have to micro anything really.
Yeah.
We just keep making units the whole time. And make sure we're flowing here. And then, so like if we lose supply, we just insta remax.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's pretty much it. But notice how we made a battery at every base and, you know, stuff like that. And we were guarded for the most part in a lot of ways. Now I'm going to rewind this and it's going to kick you out of the game. I'm just going to look really fast at your timings of your warp gate versus what we did.
Okay.
So in your game, this is what we wrote down earlier. In your game, you built a core at 150. Okay, 150 is when you built a core. And we built a core this game at 134. So that's 16 seconds faster on just the core itself. And then your warp gate starts at 236. 236 is when your warp gate starts. Our warp gate starts at 212. So your warp gate tech is 24 seconds late.
Yeah.
And when you got hit by that oracle, your warp gate tech was only like 10 seconds out. So what I'm saying is you could have easily had access to warping and stalkers and like your mineral line when he showed up. And like again, if you would have just made the battery and then you made a battery in both your mineral lines because you saw no natural, and then you just warp in like 2 stalkers because you had 2 gates.
Yeah. Yeah. That all makes a lot of sense. I mean, I think in general, like I win the games where I don't lose my probes, and then I lose the games where I lose my probes.
Exactly.
That'll be real.
Well, just know that it's like 100% guaranteed that you should be expecting aggression if your opponent has no expansion, like even started when yours is done. That's like a guarantee that you're gonna get attacked. And if you here's the thing: if you make 2 batteries in your mineral lines, 1 in each one, and you're like, oh well, he's not attacking me. don't think that just because you made 2 batteries that suddenly that means you're behind either. Like, you're still way ahead. You're just playing safe while you're ahead. But every second that goes by when he doesn't do anything and you're cruising on double base, he is falling further and further and further behind. Because if I 2 base it and I'm basically maxed at 10 minutes and I'm versing someone who's 1 basing it and he doesn't take a natural until like 7 minutes or 6 minutes and he prioritizes tech really fast, like all the way to like high tech, and then he expands. Like, let's say he techs all the way to Dark Templars, and then he's like, okay, well, now I'll expand. And he doesn't do any damage to you because he just sits there. Like, he'll max out at like 13 minutes with that kind of a playstyle, or like 12 minutes instead of 10. So you'll have like 200 supply, and he'll have like 130, 140. That's what it would look like. You know, playing just because, again, you sound, as you were telling me, you like to play standard macro, so you'll definitely have... if you just play a little safer, you'll have a lot more success.
Yeah.
But don't play too safe. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but just don't play too safe where you're like, fuck, I just lost like 30 probes. Time to make a bunch of cannons. Because that's like the worst time to build them.
It all makes good sense. Yeah, I think... Yeah, just getting like so fixated too, instead of like being able to like notice, oh, he brought the zealots back, was like another area, just like awareness, kind of.
And just know this too: if 3 zealots are chomping away at your mineral line, and you have a battery there, and you don't realize it, your probes would actually live until the battery is out of energy. Just to give you a crazy number here, a battery can heal the amount of 51 shields a second. 50 fucking 1. That's ridiculous. And in a zealot, 1 zealot does 16 damage every second. So you have 3 zealots doing 48 damage a second versus a battery that can heal 51 a second.
Wow.
And an oracle can only do roughly, like, it's a little bit more than a second because its attack speed's like 0.61 or some shit. But an oracle can do 22 damage every 0.6, so it can do almost like 44 damage a second. It's a little bit over. It's like 1.2 seconds. But the big thing about the oracle is it will eventually kill a probe because it does 22 flat, which is more than... It's like the full amount of shields plus 2 damage on the real actual HP of a probe. So it eventually will kill a probe through a battery. But if you think about like how long it would take for the battery to go out of energy, and then, you know... It would take a battery about like 8 seconds solid of healing, or like 7 seconds solid of healing to go out of energy. And that's 7 seconds of time where you're just absorbing all of it. And then as well, not only that, but you have battery overcharge where if you're like, oh fuck, like I want to battery overcharge that because I kind of feel like I need to right now. You've just created a window where you can now heal for 14 seconds without having the energy of the battery ever go down. It heals for free for 14 seconds. And it also heals faster too. So it's fucking awesome. It's ridiculous is what it is. But yeah, batteries, man, they're fucking good. And you don't need to make a lot of them, just 1.
Yeah, awesome. I'll be excited to incorporate that.
All right, dude. Well, I wish you the best of luck. Use this, save this replay, use it as like an example of like, you don't have to, you could use it eventually to max out with, but use it as an example for sure for the first like 5 minutes or 6 minutes of your game, and just compare how well you're doing versus what I'm doing by up to 6 minutes.
Okay.
And
I saved.
Yeah. All right, man. Well,
yeah.
Dude, thank you, and I wish you the best of luck, bro.
Yeah, sweet, man. Thanks so much. I really appreciate it. Hey.
All right, take it easy, dude.
You too.
All right, guys, that has been another coaching lesson. I forgot to turn on music for this, actually. I just realized that just now. But thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed the coaching lesson, the Platinum Protoss. But thank you guys. Much love, and I will see you again next time. Peace.